Hello, this is MayanLightning coming to you again for my second weblog. I wanted to start this by talking about the 20 day signs and getting you guys familiar with the basic day signs or glyphs that you will be experiencing as you try to understand the Tzolkin more and more. As you go through the Tzolkin round more and more, you'll start to experience and understand what basically is coming up the pike and what's going to be happening. So I want to talk about the 20 day signs as the prime face of a person or of the day that you're experiencing. I will also be talking about the tonality 1 through 13 of the Trecena, but that will be for another blog post, so you can kind of understand how energy passes from 1 to 13 and transforms into another cycle of 1 through 13. But overall, I just want to go through each of the day signs and show you what each one is. Now, the first one is Imix, or crocodile. This is the Trecena we started yesterday, so it started on 1 Imix, and this is kind of the subtler energy that is experienced through all the day signs who come after this, okay? So the Trecena has this subtle influence of this, and this also influences a person's personality, is the Trecena they're born on as well. Okay, the day sign we're on today is Ik. It is breath or spirit or breath. So that's the second one. The third one is Akbal. It means night or house. Okay. The fourth is Khan. It means seed. Okay. The fifth is Chichon, or snake. The sixth is Kimi, or death. Now, death is, a lot of people associate it with death, someone dying or passing away. But death, for the most part, symbolizes transformation or change. And the tarot even says the exact same thing. Okay. The next is manic. It means deer or hand. The deer is more associated with stag as the mighty ruler of the forest and is actually a major force. So it is also one of the pillars of the Tzolkin. I'll talk about that later. But there's 4 basic strong pillars that hold up the Tzolkin as a whole, and they experience power each year. And I'll talk about their influence. Okay, after that, it's Lamont, which means star, or it is also associated with the planet Venus. Okay. The next after that is Mullik, which means water. Okay. After that, the 10th sign is Ok, which means dog. Okay. Then the 11th, which I've talked about before, is Chuin, which is monkey. Okay. The 12th is called Eb, which means path. See the human face right there. Okay. The 13th, which is the ending of this Trecena, is Ben. Ben is also means reed. Is seen as the essential pillar of the community. A lot of times these people work with children and are the subtle helpers of the community. They don't seek a lot of attention, but for the most part they hold up our community as a whole. Okay, so we start off as a new Trecena, which will be Ix. 13 days later. It means jaguar. A lot of the times this day sign holds a bit of a subtle magical influence. Okay. Then after that we have Men, which means eagle. Okay. Then we have Kib, which means vulture. Then we have Kaban, which means earth or earthquake. This is another essential pillar of the Tzolkin. There's 4 that hold it up. So I'll talk more about that later. Okay. Then after that, we have Etsnab, which means flint. Okay. It's kind of shiny, so glad you guys can see that properly. Okay. The next one is Kauak, which means storm. Okay. And then the last one, the 20th, is Ahau. Kind of see the face. It means ancestors. Okay, I just wanted to show you guys basically what each one looks like, and I think some people will get an overall thought about what each one represents just by how they are how they look and present themselves to you. I wanted to talk in particular about a Trecena that happened a few Trecenas ago. So about 26 days ago, we experienced the Ik Trecena, which is wind or hurricane. Now, during January 8th and 9th, the Arizona shooting happened, and that shook up our communities quite a bit. And it says that during this Trecena, it is a time that's very restless and unstable, and strange people influence events, and boy, isn't that true. Like, it totally shook our communities, and it did bind us together as Americans, but it was very intense, and it says that it's also a time where control is weak, experiments are undertaken, and barriers are smashed. Now, this Ik Trecena, 260 days ago, was the exact same time that the Gulf oil spill happened. And the interesting thing is that in January, a lot of ecologists during this Ik Trecena 260 days after the oil spill were all trying to do studies, and still are, about the birds falling from the sky. So I think it's really interesting how 260 days later we're seeing more influence about how our environment is influencing the creatures around us. And I think that's something we really need to focus on. A lot of people think that the Tzolkin follows the path of human gestation, which is about 9 months. So it kind of follows the same period. And I think we should really be focusing on how us as humans are impacting our environment, whether for the positive or negative. And I really think that it's having a major influence. Another thing that one of my friends was thinking about is that the reason why a lot of these birds are falling from the sky is because of maybe some experiments with the weather. That it's kind of interesting how there's these extreme weather cases in Australia, which is totally devastating them. And on the other side of the globe, if you check exactly what the other side of the globe is, it's Georgia, and Georgia's where a lot of the birds are falling down from the sky. I was thinking that it actually might be electromagnetic problems because we are facing a polar shift. It's not like we're going to be like, oh, well, like our whole earth is going to flip around and the poles are going to melt. I don't think that's going to happen, but I think essentially it's going to flip, and our compasses will be different. South will be north and north will be south, but everything will be the way that it normally is. It'll just be a little different. Even airports have had to change their coordinate systems and stuff. But it's kind of interesting that in these past decades and stuff, we've seen more birds falling from the sky and more whales and fish breaching on the earth and sand because they can't maintain that coordinate system. And I think the electromagnetic field is kind of like their divine subconscious that they're able to tap into, because everyone's like, oh, how do they know the path of their ancestors? I think it's something that they essentially get from that network. And I think because it's starting to kind of fractal off and change, that it's kind of creating an instability there. But anyway, I hope this was informative, and I will continue to post more about the day signs, and hope you guys have a happy winter, Kenna, and I hope this video was informative, and I really look forward to making more. Okay, thank you.